Mr. Speaker, the Post Office Horizon scandal is one of the most insidious injustices in our country. It has robbed innocent people of their livelihoods, their liberty, and all too sadly, their lives. At least 60 postmasters have died without seeing justice or receiving compensation. At least 4 have taken their own lives. And 20 years on, they and their families are still suffering from the consequences and the trauma of all they have been put through. And the scale of the scandal is so vast, getting the right leadership in place at the Post Office is of paramount importance. However, to decide to eject the chair during the weekend with no real opportunity to get the details of the decision on the public record is unusual, to say the least. People need to know that removing Henry Staunton was a substantive, evidence-based decision if we are to have confidence in that decision. So can the Minister assure us that this decision was indeed substantive and not just as a result of a personal falling out between Mr Staunton and the Secretary of State? The Minister has talked about setting a timeline in due course for replacing Mr Staunton. In the context of what has happened and the Horizon scandal and the big challenges facing the Post Office, strong leadership is vital at this point in the process, and I hope he will be able to share as quickly as possible further information about the timeline and when the post will be filled. And what confidence can the Minister provide that this change will lead to wholesale culture change that is desperately needed to ensure this never happens again, especially given that Mr Staunton was not in the post office during the Horizon scandal. He's only served in this position since 2022. This, after all, has never been about actions of one single individual. And finally, Mr Speaker, the priority for us all, as has been stated in this House, is the fast-track exoneration of all remaining convictions and the delivery of rightful redress or compensation to all those affected submasters as quickly as possible. So will the Minister provide an update on when we will see further progress on those matters to make sure that we take urgent steps to fix the seismic damage of this scandal?
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Well, it certainly wasn't something we wanted to do at a weekend. There was a chance that this would come into the public domain by other means, which is why a conversation had to take place over the weekend. We didn't think it'd be right that an individual would hear about a potential course of action by other means other than the Secretary of State speaking to that individual. I think that's fair to say and the right thing to do. No, I don't know why she would have any evidence that this is some kind of falling out, as she put it. This is about governance issues, very serious governance issues about how the leader and the person who headed the board of that organisation. In terms of which are obviously confidential and HR issues, in terms of the timeline to replace, or as I said earlier in my remarks, as quickly as possible. We're looking at recommendations as we speak, and we should be able to report back to the House as soon as possible in terms of an interim and a permanent replacement. This wasn't about holding somebody responsible for past problems in the Post Office. This is about the governance of the Post Office going forward, which is why the mutual agreement took place for Mr Staunton to step down. And of course, we are working at pace to try and deliver the blanket overturning of convictions. We are keen to update the House as quickly as possible, and we should be doing that over in the coming days.
Jonathan Gullis.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker.